Think of everything you know. Everything that makes you remarkable. Everything that makes you, you. Where do you bring it to thrive? Where do you unlock your ambition? At the University of Kent, we make our mark together in a community that celebrates individuality and equality, champions human rights, and embraces entrepreneurial spirit. Because the University of Kent is more than a place. It is a collective of groundbreakers, risk takers, change makers, creative thinkers, and blue sky dreamers. Where we move forward together, it's time for the world to know that we make ambition count. The University of Kent.
Hello and welcome to our virtual event, live from our Canterbury campus. I'm Ariana, a Student Recruitment Officer here at the university.
And I'm Dan, another Student Recruitment Officer, and over the next hour or so, myself, fellow students and staff members will be taking you on a tour all around Kent and showing everything that we have to offer.
We are live, so if you do have any questions throughout today's live stream, do pop them in the chat. We have a team on hand to answer those for you throughout the live stream. But what can you expect from us this evening? We're going to be talking to our accommodation team about what it might be like to live on the campus.
And later, we'll be joined by Kent Union representative Ben Bradley alongside current student Joshua Shields, and they'll be talking to you all about student life and the support offered alongside your degree.
And in just a moment, I'm going to be talking to one of our current students, Christina, about what it's like to study at the University of Kent. So stay tuned to find out more. Welcome back. I'm joined with one of our current students, Christina, to talk a bit more about the courses on offer at the University of Kent and what it might be like to study here. So, Christina, what are you currently studying at the University of Kent?
Law. I'm a third year law student.
And how are you finding law? What sort of made you choose law at the university?
What made me choose law at the university was my interest in law, which started out in sixth form. Also the Kent Law Clinic and extra modules that you can pick from Kent.
Brilliant. And you mentioned the Kent Law Clinic. Can you just tell us a little bit more about what that actually involves?
So the Kent Law Clinic is an opportunity for students to get involved in real life cases. So we offer family, employment, immigration, and I don't know the next one. But you get involved in real life cases with real clients with a solicitor helping you out. So it's a great work experience as well.
Brilliant. That sounds like a really good opportunity to sort of add that practical element to your studies. Are there any other opportunities to add additional experiences into your studies at Kent?
Yeah, definitely. So, for example, the law clinic, they also offer extra credit modules. So lawyering skills, so negotiation, mediation, mooting and mock trial advocacy. So they really give you an experience of what it's like to be a lawyer.
Brilliant. And as well as that, some of our courses will also offer things like years in industry or years abroad. So do have a look at the website for your specific subject and see what extra opportunities there might be on offer for you there. So Christina, can you tell me a little bit more about what your week might look like in terms of the amount of contact hours you have with a teacher and what those contact hours look like?
So you would have at least one lecture per module, and then a seminar to go with it. Sometimes you would get 2 lectures per module, so maybe around 8 to 10 hours per week.
Great. And what is a module? What does that actually involve?
So a module is like a topic that you take, just like in A-levels, and it either runs through so the whole year, which is 30 credits, or 15 credit, which runs like every term.
Brilliant. And do you get a choice in what modules you're studying, or are they set by the subject themselves?
So it all depends on the subject. First year, you normally get compulsory to set the foundations. And then second year and third year, you get some options. In law, for example, most of them are compulsory first year and second year, but you get to choose some of them to really shape your degree.
Brilliant. And what that means for the students is you get to really pick the elements of your subject that you want to find out more about and really tailor it to your individual interests. The amount of optional modules you get will vary depending on the degree. So again, it's worth having a look at our website and seeing what those options might look like for you. And you mentioned previously about lectures and seminars. So how big are your lectures and seminars? How many people are there compared to what you might typically find in school or college?
So lectures are big kind of rooms where information's given to you. There'll be about 500 students, so quite a lot. And then seminars is kind of like A levels, 30, 20 students max.
Great. And what do you do in a seminar?
So seminars is more to ask questions that you're struggling with in that were discussed in the lecture, and to really like deepen your knowledge about that topic or subject.
Brilliant. So a nice mix of lectures, seminars, and a bit of practical work there as well. Again, the amount of contact hours you have will differ depending on the subject, and the types of learning you do will differ as well. So it seems that you perhaps have a bit less contact time than you might have previously experienced in school or college. What are you doing outside of those contact hours? When you're not with a teacher, how are you learning? How are you filling your time?
So I rather either be in the library studying, group studying, just all around, yeah.
Brilliant. So a lot more focus on independent learning and exploring your subject outside the classroom. So are there places to study and learn on campus outside of your lectures and seminars?
Yeah, definitely. The library is a big place for it. Loads of students love it. You also have campus cafes, restaurants, student accommodation, and study groups, study rooms for groups, yeah.
Brilliant. So loads of different places for students to study outside of the lectures and seminars, getting that kind of independent learning in place. Can you tell me a little bit more about the library? So how is it set up for students?
So the library has 3 tiers. So the top tier is all silent study. So it's really useful when you have deadlines coming up or you just want to get studying and not talk to your friends. Second floor is kind of a bit silent with areas of like group study rooms and more talkative. And then the first floor is just all loud as you can be, really.
Great. And what's your favourite place in the library?
Mine would be the silent study because that's where I get the most work done. Definitely.
Brilliant. So what that means for our students is you can really tailor the type of learning you need to do on that particular day to where you're sitting in the library. So you can really sort of maximise your learning experience by using the library and the different floors that we have on offer there. So we spoke previously about, there's lots of lectures and seminars, a bit of independent study. If you were to do a lecture or a seminar and you were perhaps a little bit confused about some of the content that was mentioned within that, is there somewhere you can go to kind of get a bit of clarification before you start your own independent work?
Yeah, definitely. So you could talk to your seminar leaders in the seminar, or you could even talk to your seminar leaders after the seminar or book their office hours. So office hours are where lecturers, module conveners, and the seminar leaders have like a set time per week where you can drop into their office and just talk to them about your concerns within the modules, things you're struggling with. But you can also drop them an email and talk to them through Teams or something like that.
Great. So lots of support in place to make sure you're kind of on the right track with that learning. So we spoke before about lectures, seminars, independent learning, but how is your course actually assessed? So what are they looking for within the law school?
So in law is mostly coursework, and then we get some exams, so ranging between 50 to 60%. But it depends on the subjects. Some subjects are more exam based and others are practical based and stuff like that.
Brilliant. And are each module assessed in the same way or are different modules assessed differently?
Each module will be assessed differently. Some will be multiple choice tests and some will be group work and exam or something like that, yeah.
Brilliant. So lots of different methods of studying and assessment within the university itself. Can you also tell me a little bit more about the potential extra opportunities there are within the law school?
Yeah, so I've spoken about the lawyering skills. Yeah. That's a great way to get involved, really learning, how to deal with certain cases. We also offer like a clerking scheme where you go out and actually do clerking, so you go to court and get involved in real life cases, where you go to court and draft notes for the barrister. It's a great way to network with barristers and just judges and everyone in like the court system.
Brilliant, thank you. And then before we move on to look at some of the accommodation, can I also just ask you, what is your favourite thing about the Canterbury campus?
I would say the library, definitely, and the Woodies bar.
Brilliant. And then we do also have a library over in our Medway campus and loads of different study spaces there as well. So do go and have a look at our website to learn more about that. Thank you very much for talking to me this evening about your experience on your course. If you do have any further questions about what it's like to study at the university, the types of courses that are available, or what that course might look like for you, do have a look at our website. Otherwise, the Q&A function is still running, so do feel free to pop a message into that and one of our team will answer that as soon as possible. For now, we're going to have a look at the wider campus and what it might look like if you do choose to live here as part of your studies. Earlier today, our recruitment lead, Susie, went and spoke to the accommodation team to find out more about the accommodation opportunities on the campus. So let's see what she found out.
Hello, I'm Susie from the Schools and Colleges team, and I'm here with Sian from the accommodation team, and we're going to answer some questions about the accommodation that we have available on campus. So welcome, Sian. Our first question is, what are the different types of accommodation that we have available?
So we have a variety of accommodation on campus, so self-catered, ensuite and non-ensuite rooms. We also offer part-catered accommodation, again ensuite or non-ensuite, but those rooms come with a meal plan. We also have a range of accessible rooms on campus, plus we can offer single-sex accommodation and also moderated living.
Lovely. And what is the range of kind of costs included in those accommodations and the types of things included within those costs as well?
So the costs vary dependent on the facilities that you have in your room. Included in the cost of accommodation on campus is all of your utility bills, plus Wi-Fi is campus-wide. There's no advance payment or deposit that we ask when you apply for accommodation either.
And do we offer any kind of accommodation guarantee?
Yes, we do. So if you make sure that you apply for accommodation before the 30th of June, then we'll guarantee you a room offer.
Thank you. So when someone applies for accommodation, how does the accommodation team allocate that accommodation? Is it done by subject area or by friendships?
So basically, when students receive their A-level results in the summer, we then start to allocate the rooms. We don't allocate per subject, so we tend to allocate first come, first served basis. So those students that have applied the earliest, so from January onwards, we allocate based on preference.
And if I was a student living on campus and I actually found that I didn't really like the type of accommodation I was in and I would prefer a different type of accommodation, or I'd made friends with someone living, the other side of campus and I wanted to swap rooms, is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Students often request to move rooms for a variety of reasons. You just need to come along to the accommodation office, and if we've got availability, then absolutely we'll move you.
And then lastly, how long would I live on campus for? So we have lots of students that live on campus for their first year, but can you live in your second, third, fourth year here as well?
Yeah, so predominantly we do have first years living on campus, but each year in January we open up the application pages to returning students as well. It is done on a first come, first served basis, but returning students can live on campus right through their academic period of registration. Also, if students do have a medical condition, again, they can live on campus for their entire time at Kent.
Brilliant, thank you very much, Sian. So now we are going to cut across to my colleague Dan. He's with one of our student ambassadors and they are going to show you their bedroom and their kitchen. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Susie. So right now we're here in the Wolf accommodation, one of the various student hall options that are available here at Kent. It might very well be the option that you pick for your first year. But before you make that decision, let's have a look inside one of the rooms.
Hello, my name is Radka. Welcome into my room. Come in. So this is my area of study. As you can see, this is where I usually do my homework and I revise, and here's my bed. And over here, I have my own bathroom and toilet. You can quickly have a look. As you can see, it's very casual and comfortable and very nice to live in here. So I love it, absolutely love it. Let's go and have a look at the kitchen. Follow me. So the students usually love to sit around and eat. This is the cooking area where I usually do like most of my cooking. Put your products and everything in. So yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that tour, Radka. We really do appreciate it. So with this accommodation, is it subject specific or is it more general?
I would say general. Yeah, mostly general, I would say, yes.
Yes, so all of the accommodation is general, so there's no subject specific accommodation that is there. And so this is one of the various accommodation options that we have, but they're quite different in terms of the accommodation that we offer.
Most of the accommodations that we usually offer in this university can be different from this one. It really depends on the sizes and how big you want it to be, or depends on the price rates as well.
So obviously, like this is quite a wide kitchen space, but some of them are a little bit more enclosed, and I suppose that is part of what makes the price difference.
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see, it really depends. I mean, it can be small or wider, so it also depends on the flat, the people, the individuals that are in the actual flats. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And so is accommodation guaranteed for first year students?
Yes, definitely. As long as you meet the deadline, which is the 30th of June, and as long as you are a full-time student and you have a firm choice, you will definitely be guaranteed accommodation.
Brilliant. And obviously that's a guarantee that we offer to first year students, but in terms of accommodation available for second and third year students, are they usually on campus or are they off campus?
I mean, it's not always that you have to stay on campus. Some students really do want to, experience.
City centre and that sort
Yeah,
of thing.
exactly. For example, I myself used to commute as well. I used to use the shuttle bus, which is for free, by the way. But then it kind of seemed nice for me. It was, but then I decided to move here in Canterbury. I was thinking to come and, see. I actually loved joining this accommodation because everything seems closer. The lectures.
Very close to all of the facilities that we're using as well. So with, say you have a situation where you don't get on with a particular flatmate or just the accommodation isn't exactly for you, is there anything in place so you could change your accommodation here at Kent?
I mean, you can, if you talk to the right people and obviously have a discussion with them and explain them your issues, they should be able to help you, yes.
And this accommodation that we've seen here today, it's an ensuite accommodation, but is all accommodation ensuite or is some shared toilet facilities?
Not all accommodations are ensuite. Some are shared toilet, facilities and stuff. So yeah, it can be different. Yeah, not all accommodations are the same.
I think this all sort of feeds into the idea of like different price ranges and that sort of thing. So is it quite different? Can it vary quite a bit, the prices for accommodation on campus?
Yeah, it can. I mean, it depends on the price range that you're looking for. Obviously, as long as you do your research beforehand and you know what you're looking for, what you want, and sort of like do your calculations really. But yeah.
And this is just a bit of an anecdote of mine, but I remember coming back to accommodation quite late in the evening and I realised I forgot my fob key to get in. But is there anything in place with campus security to help you out if you have a situation like that?
Of course, the campus security operates 24/7. And yeah, they can, support you and help you with everything you need.
I think what's really good as well is that there's a Safe Zone app as well that students can download. So if you're stuck at any sort of place, and this can be on or off campus, campus security can help you out as well as other relevant authorities. So that is quite brilliant.
Yes.
So with you picking your accommodation, obviously it was quite different this year compared to the previous year where you, as you were saying, you're using a shuttle bus.
Yeah.
What would you say were the main things that you were looking for in terms of picking your accommodation?
I was mainly looking for the study area. This is one of the main important things to me because when my area of study is like cleaned and just kind of like wide, because I'm usually all over the place and I love having loads of space and stuff. That's what I'm mainly looking for. And obviously, I also like it being casual, as you saw in my room. It's like nice lighting and stuff. As long as it looks good to me, so that looks good enough to me. And also, a nice the in-suite bathroom and stuff, because I personally don't like sharing bathroom with anyone else.
Is the case for certain people, definitely.
Yes, yeah. So that's it pretty much. And obviously having your own storage area and pretty much feeling secure on campus. That's it, pretty much.
So all of the accommodation options, do you have like a bed space to yourself? Because I know there are certain unis in which there are beds you share the same room, but as far as I'm aware, it's you each get your own room here.
Yeah, I mean, it is true that we get our own room. It might be the case of sometimes you may get like a single bed, as you saw in my room, I have a single bed, and sometimes you also get like a double bed.
You can get that as well, yeah.
Yeah, obviously you may have neighbors, like next door neighbors, your flatmates and stuff, but yeah, it's never the case of sharing a room, no.
So obviously this is a self-catered option, as we said, you've got all the kitchen facilities there, but are there certain flexible catering packages that you could get access to where, say, you can access meals for yourself?
Yeah, there is. Obviously, again, if you talk to the accommodation team, they will be able to direct you to the right place to, click a link and for you to order those facilities. They do provide like not everything, but like certain specific facilities. It can be the case of most of the facilities for you to bring yourself and obviously do some shopping of yourself first. Yeah.
Because that is something you can do. You can order your shopping here to campus, so any sort of supermarket provider that you would like, they can come up to campus and deliver your food right to your doorstep, which is amazing. So is there any like short pieces of advice you could give to students in terms of picking their accommodation? Is there anything that you found particularly useful in terms of picking accommodation?
Do your research and be as organized as possible. Obviously, at the end, you may feel like change your mind and stuff, but there's always an option for you to change like accommodation or even a room. And as you mentioned before, if you're not in good terms with your flatmates, there's always an option. Or if you even decide to live off campus, that's absolutely fine, as long as you find it comfortable for yourself. I mean, it could, don't let it be like, oh, it's too expensive or it's too cheap and stuff. Make sure you know what you look
What's the best for you, I suppose. That's
yeah,
the main thing,
exactly.
isn't it? Thank you so much, Ms. Radko. We really do appreciate the tour and taking a bit of time to answer some questions for us.
Thank you very much.
So the Q&A feature is still open, so please do not panic. Please keep sending in those burning questions that you have. In the meantime, we're going to cut to student life, where Ariana will be talking to Kent Uni representative Ben Bradley and current student Joshua Hills, all about student life here at Kent and the support offered alongside your degree. So over to Ariana.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm joined today by Ben and Josh. If you guys would like to introduce yourselves and your roles at the university at the moment.
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Ben. I'm one of the vice presidents at Kent Union, which is ultimately the student union at Kent. Our whole job, in short, is to make sure that every part of the student experience is as good as it can, you're as supported as it can, and to make sure we're here for you. I myself have been here way too long. I've been here since 2017, doing undergraduate, postgraduate, year in, and the whole lot. So I've fallen a bit in love with this place, but need to leave soon, I think.
Hi, I'm Josh. I'm a current second year AI student. I'm doing an industrial year, which I'll be taking in the next year, and I commuted on my first year.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So can I just ask you guys, I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like to live on the campus outside of your academic studies and a bit about the support that's available today. So let's start by talking about the social life that's available at the campus itself. So Ben, can you tell us a little bit more about the social life that's on offer here at Canterbury?
Absolutely. So there's social life wise, it's amazing. So the bright side of being on a campus university is it's literally like you arrive at the campus and then it's like your home away from home. It is amazing. You're 20 minutes from Canterbury, so you can do all the usual city stuff, exploring, find it, but then you've got this whole load of communities here. So I think there's 250 plus student societies, which range from everything from sports societies to interest societies to faith societies to cultural societies, the whole lot. We've got everything from cricket to Hogwarts. So if there's an interest you've got, there's almost certainly a society for it. And at the bare minimum, if there's not, you can make one. I actually ended up making the dodgeball society here because it seemed like good fun. But yeah, as well as societies, there's huge amounts of communities on campus, and it just genuinely, once you found it, it's amazing. It's like getting a little family almost.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. So, Josh, can I just ask you, did you take part in any societies while you were a student here, and how did you find sort of entering the University of Kent as a commuting student?
So I did Taekwondo my first and my second year here, which is a martial arts society. I absolutely love it. Everyone is really nice and accommodating, and if you miss a session or two, they'll make sure you're okay. And are always sympathetic when there's traffic that prevented me from last year. And yeah, I found it incredibly easy. I mean, Kent Union makes it relatively easy. You pop on their site, you click join, and if there's a monetary kind of join-in fee, it gets charged via whatever, and you pay and you're done. And then you just start turning up. During the first week, they also run tasters, so you don't have to pay anything, and you can try all the different societies. And I went around the fair with my mates at the time in first year, and just I've never spoken to so many people at once. I don't think I missed a single stall. I talked to absolutely everyone, and learned so much.
Brilliant. Sounds like you really got the most out of the Freshers' Fair then. So on that note, how would you go about joining a society? If I was a student just starting at the university, how can I find societies to take part in, and how would I go about signing up to them?
Absolutely. So pre-uni, the easiest way is to go onto the Kent Union website. There's literally a societies page. You can scroll through all of them, which has a list of what they do, and most importantly, who their respective president is or chair, that you can email, ask some questions about, find out about before you even step foot in the university, because they love talking about whatever they're running, because it's their interest. Once you actually arrive at the university, though, I've got to admit, the best way of joining societies really is that welcome fair. You can join at any point throughout the year, but as Josh highlighted, there's taster sessions for the first 2 weeks, and you can get access to way more than you ever have before. I mean, you can give fencing a try whilst the next few days riding a horse, whilst then deciding to give it a go in dodgeball. Like, there's so many different opportunities, and that's the best way I think you can join, really get a feel for it. But before that, yeah, reach out to the societies, find their Instagram pages. They're all linked on that same website. You can literally see the community before you've even stepped foot on the campus.
Amazing. And are there any sort of limitations around joining a society? I mean, you've mentioned quite a lot of different sports societies we have here at the University of Kent. Do you have to have a certain level of experience, or can you just give something a go?
So, to my knowledge, every sports society is accessible to everyone. You can be a total novice that has never touched the sport, never played a day of it in your life, and just actually want to take it casually, which is absolutely fine. You may be someone who has never touched it but wants to take it professional, which they also will help you do. There's team training, there's a whole lot. Or there may be that there's something you're an expert at before you're here and you want to continue being an expert at it, and then you bet that the team will swipe you up as quickly as possible to try and get you on there. If, as was highlighted, there's sometimes a monetary value associated with societies, which can be a concern for some students, especially with kind of the cost of living going on and everything right now. But luckily, in terms of support, there's various funds. One that comes to mind is the Access to Activities Fund, which will actively help students get the memberships to the club they want, buy the equipment to the club they want, and really actually sort of get you involved in societies to make sure that money isn't an obstacle in you getting the best experience at uni.
Amazing, thank you. And aside from societies, are there any other sort of social experiences that students can take part in on the campus? Any sort of big events that happen or any social outlets that we make use of here?
Oh, crikey, there's more than enough. So, I mean, Welcome Week will inevitably probably overwhelm most students with choice. There is literally stuff going on from when you wake up in the morning to go to probably past when you go to sleep in the in the evening. But in terms of throughout the year, there's so many different opportunities for students to get involved. I mean, currently today is actually I've got to remember the date. It's the Thursday, isn't it? It's the 4th day of Cultural Celebration Week, which is a week full of events, of various different things to really celebrate different cultures at Kent and also make our international communities feel welcome and give a chance for our home students to explore it. So there's honestly a huge amount of stuff. The departments do stuff, the academic divisions do stuff. Every single person in the university will usually hold an event where if you can't find something to do, it would genuinely be an achievement.
Brilliant. And you don't have to live on the campus to take part in these events. Josh, you're a commuting student. So how did you find getting involved in these events and sort of becoming part of the Kent community?
I have found it increasingly easy. The nice thing about being at university is it's not quite like A-levels where everything starts and finishes at about 3 o'clock. Things do go on later in the evening, which is helpful when I've got to travel or commute back forwards and from home. So most of the time I chose to carry all my stuff with me, but I wouldn't actually have to. And recently they've just installed lockers as well. They're at the bottom level of the library, which is open 24/7 as it is. The lockers have some round off time, but the library staff is always very nice about you being just a little bit late. And there is a very long-houred open cafe on the campus as well, and I've never drunk so many coffees in my life. Kept me awake through assignments, through when I had Taekwondo in the evening and I was honestly nearly dying. Or if it wasn't an assignment, or just prepping for a test, or meeting friends later for a night out in the city.
Brilliant. So how do you manage your time as a commuting student, that kind of split between commuting in or being on the campus itself? How much time would you say you choose to spend on the campus itself?
So I chose to spend the majority of my time on campus. I honestly pulled dice from about 10 to 7, and when I wasn't in lectures, I was in the library, or at least around somewhere near it, either sitting with mates or on my own on my laptop doing some nerdy thing, going to head and work. I chose to do that because it was comfortable. Library was always kept warm. There's plenty of seating options from beanbags to wheelchairs. And if my laptop was dying or dead, there's charging ports and all sorts of accessibility. And the co-op is about 5 minutes down the road if I wanted a snack. So it just made sense to stay on campus rather than anywhere else. And unlike going to somewhere like, say, Cafe Nova, where you have to buy a drink to sit down, and you don't with the library, is access. So if I didn't have any money or if I had something else going on, I could sit down there without needing the stress of I'm going to get told to leave because I haven't bought anything.
So as a commuting student, you don't necessarily have to spend all of your time on campus. It's your personal choice. It's great that you love the campus so much, you want to be here as much as possible. So if you do choose to spend a large amount of your time on campus as a commuting student, as you said, there's loads of different study spaces that you can make use of rather than sort of going back to accommodation. You've got lots of different study hubs, the cafes, restaurants on campus. And as you say, as well as sort of lockers that you can put your stuff in as well. You don't necessarily have to be carrying that around all day, which is really good. What I just wanted to touch on briefly was the support and wellbeing that's available at the University of Kent. Ben, can you just tell us a little bit about the support services that we have on offer here and how students might access them?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. So there's a huge amount of support available. It depends where you want to start looking ultimately. So as mentioned earlier, there's stuff like the X2 Activities Fund and various other things which support a little bit with cost of living. So if any students ever struggling with finances, but in terms of well-being and support, there's a huge range of it. So for, I suppose, well-being and mental health support, that kind of thing, there's the student support and well-being team, which actively help out different students with everything from counselling to they can also provide things called independent learning plans or ILPs, which can give you extensions on deadlines, extra time in exams. It makes the student support and wellbeing ensure that every student gets an equitable experience when learning. So it doesn't matter whatever you feel, whatever concerns you about that academic side or whatever concerns you about being at university, they really do help and support you as much as possible. On top of that, just to add a little bit extra, if there was ever any issues with the academic side of things or something that you weren't quite sure how it would jump, let's say if you'd been employed for a few years or if you'd just come from A-levels and weren't quite sure what the differences in sort of university assignments are, there's the Student Learning Advisory Service, or SLAS, which offer a range of classes that are all free to students, workshops that can help out with various different things, from how to write essays to how to source documents to everything and anything. Last but not least, just because it's probably the most relevant, I suppose, for commuting, is the advice service that's actually run by the Students' Union. So they're a free, impartial, confidential advice service, but most importantly, they give advice on pretty much everything from accommodation to finances to visa advice to housing to commuting advice to everything. And they are, as per every support service, accessible to every student. Doesn't matter if you're living on campus, if you're commuting, it's all there.
Brilliant. Amazing. So, as Ben was saying, a vast amount of support available both for wellbeing, academic, and any other issues you might have whilst you're at university. Thank you very much for that. Just before we wrap up today, can I just ask you both, what is your favourite thing about the University of Kent? Go with Ben first.
It's always been put on the spot with this question. I think for me, it's actually got to be the campus as a wider thing, which I know is a bit of a cop-out answer, but not only is it obviously green, insanely pretty, and the view of Canterbury is just... But truthfully, I actually really like the campus feel. It's kind of every movie I've watched of American college or anything like that has this on campus where that's your environment. And I feel Kent is one of the only universities where you get exactly that. And then if you want a little bit away, we're an hour away from London, 20-minute walk away from the city. It's honestly amazing.
Brilliant. So really well sort of located for lots of different experiences. What about you, Josh?
So unsurprisingly, it's got to be the cafe.
Yeah.
The coffee is the best I've ever had, and the accessibility from it. The fact it's central campus as well, so I'm never too far from a lecture. So if I'm in depth into an assignment and I realise, oh, I've got to get to an assignment or to a lecture in 5 minutes of a class, I don't have to worry about walking in late and everyone turning around at me. I just go there and I happen to be on time because I'm already on campus. And yeah, I can't hype out that coffee enough. Keeps me awake.
Amazing. So thank you both for joining me this evening and sharing a bit about your experience of the University of Kent. Dan will be joining us in just a moment to wrap up, and I will see you all shortly.
So that's about all the time that we have here for today. Now, the Q&A will remain open for the next 30 minutes, so please do keep sending in all those questions. If you have any questions afterwards, please feel free to visit our website at www.kent.ac.uk. And if you have any questions after that, please feel free to come to one of our open days where you can ask questions to us face to face. We'd be delighted to answer them.
Brilliant. So we do have a few questions that have come in throughout today's live stream, which we're going to answer just now. So one of the questions that's come in is, can you tell me a little bit more about what the campus is like? So the Canterbury campus is set back in about 300 acres of countryside. As was said previously, we are very well located. We are about 20 minutes to the city of Canterbury, about a 20-minute walk, or about a 10-minute bus journey. And there is a bus that does a 24-hour loop from the campus down to the city, so it is really well connected. What that means, and what Ben was sort of touching on earlier, is that you do really get the best of both worlds. You get that nice campus-based feel, but you also get the city life really close by as well. And as Ben said, we are also about an hour on the fast train to central London from the city of Canterbury, and about 6 miles down to the coast as well. So really well located in terms of nice days out for students to get involved with, and lots of things to do. One of the other questions we have had is, what tips would you give someone to settle into university life? Dan, do you have any top tips for settling into university life?
So I think for everyone, that first week is going to be a little bit daunting. So don't feel worried about that. I feel like everyone is in the same boat. But I think just getting stuck in and trying out a lot of the brilliant opportunities that we have here at Kent is the best thing. And something I did when I was at university, you know, trying out societies, for instance, or coming along to some of the freshers events. And yeah, I would just say, if you could summarize it, just to get stuck in and just try everything that is available. That's probably the best piece of advice that I would give. What would you say?
I would say don't worry too much about, you know, trying to get everything in those first couple of weeks, sort of settling in at your own pace. Everyone is in the same boat. Everyone's there to make friends and try new things. So as Dan was saying, just get involved as much as possible, particularly if you are commuting. It's nice to be able to come up to the campus as much as possible and get involved in all the activities that are taking place, whether it's a society taster, whether it's an event that's happening on the campus itself, or maybe an event that's happening in one of our bars or cafes across campus. It's just nice to come and get involved as much as possible. And that really is the best way to sort of begin to make friends, to make connections. I would also say that joining societies is a really good way to begin to make those connections with people, sort of meeting the same people once or twice a week and beginning to make those connections with them as well. So one of the other questions is, what advice would you give someone who's trying to narrow down their choices? What should they do to kind of begin to understand where they want to study? What would your advice be for that, Dan?
So I'd say, because you have 5 options, and that is brilliant in terms of narrowing down those options. But I think coming along to open days is probably the best thing you can do in terms of narrowing down those choices. I think for me, just coming to visit the campus and just being there for about 20 minutes, I instantly knew that it was the place for me. And I think you would find the same looking at the same university choices yourself. So I would just say open days, or if you can't visit that, just a campus tour or an applicant day or something like that. That's the best thing you can do, just to get a sense of it's the right choice for you.
Okay, and someone has asked us, I know I've been asking this to some of our guests throughout the evening, what is our favourite place or favourite thing about the university? What's your favourite sort of part of the university, Dan?
I mean, a place is a good point, but I would say my favourite thing is just sort of the ethos. It's a very peaceful, very tranquil campus. It is just really calming. It's a great environment, but there's plenty of opportunities to get stuck in if you like that as well. You can go completely at your own pace here at Kent, and I think that is absolutely the best thing. And yeah, the best thing for me about Kent.
Brilliant. One of the things that I really liked when I was a student here, I mean, we're both students at the University of Kent. One of the things I really liked when I was a student here is the sense of community we have here, and the fact there is so much for students to get involved with, whether that's, you know, living on campus or commuting in. There really is that sense of community here, and I hope that's something that we've been able to show you throughout today's live stream, and with our guests as well, who are obviously also really enjoying their time with us as well. So that's about as much we've got time for this evening. Thank you very much for joining us this evening to learn more about the university. Do sign up to some open days if you would like to come and have a look at the university for yourself. As Dan was saying, that is a really good way to be able to see if you like the campus for yourself and begin to maybe meet some of us here at the university and answer some of your questions there as well. The chat will remain open for the next 30 minutes or so. So if you do have any final questions you would like answered, make sure you get them in and we'll be able to answer them as soon as possible. Thank you everyone for joining us this evening, and thank you to all of our guests. And we look forward to welcoming you to the campus soon.
Think of everything you know. Everything that makes you remarkable. Everything that makes you, you. Where do you bring it to thrive? Where do you unlock your ambition? At the University of Kent, we make our mark together in a community that celebrates individuality and equality, champions human rights, and embraces entrepreneurial spirit. Because the University of Kent is more than a place. It is a collective of groundbreakers, risk takers, change makers, creative thinkers, and blue sky dreamers. Where we move forward together, it's time for the world to know that we make ambition count. The University of Kent.